Greetings, members one and all of the Salivation Nation. Gold has ended up above $1,300 to score the highest settlement of the month thus far. And we're going to kind of explore some of the reasons for that and also look into what's going on in India. Quite fascinating indeed. Gold futures scored a second straight gain on Wednesday with a climb above $1,300 an ounce, sending prices to their highest settlement month to date. UK Prime Minister Theresa May's Brexit plan faces a fresh vote late in the session after a revised deal was rejected on Tuesday. Fears of a disorderly exit by the UK from the European Union before the March 29th deadline to formally leave Europe's trade bloc has helped to drive the appetite in haven assets like gold, market experts say. Gold for April delivery rose $11.20 or 0.9% to settle at $1,309.30 an ounce, with bullion notching a second straight advance, the longest since mid-February according to FactSet data. Prices for the most active contract market, the highest settlement since February the 28th, gold-backed exchange-traded fund, SPDR gold shares, are up 0.7%, also climbed 0.6%. May silver gained 4.3 cents or 0.3% to $15.45 an ounce. Late Tuesday, Prime Minister May lost the vote on her revised Brexit deal as expected by a margin of 149 votes, despite securing last-minute concessions from the European Union over Brexit divorce deal on Monday. Later Wednesday, Parliament will vote whether to rule out a so-called hard or disorderly exit from the EU. And I think that if it is a hard exit, we may see the precious metals climb even higher just because of the uncertainty tied with it. The uncertainty regarding Brexit may have triggered home-safe haven buying, but we would argue that the dollar action is the key, said analysts at Zanar Precious Metals on a daily note. The numbers are going to see what's going on with the dollar index for sure, and tied in with the volatility index associated with the Brexit deal. The UK Parliament has another vote today whether to decide they just leave the EU without a deal in place. A yes vote may spark some more interest in the metals, but traders should also be cognizant of the currency effect, they said. If the pound gets hit hard, it would support the dollar and pressure gold and silver. That's right. On Wednesday, the dollar is measured by the ICE US dollar index was down negative 0.56%, traded lower by 2% as the British pound strengthened ahead of the hard Brexit vote. A weaker dollar tends to support prices for dollar-denominated gold. Some better-than-expected U.S. economic data Wednesday did little to support the greenback, even with orders from long-lasting durable goods in January climbing by 0.4%, rose a third month in a row. The wholesale cost of U.S. goods and services rose slightly in February, with the producer price index up 0.1%, but inflation more broadly showed little threat to the economy. U.S. construction spending rose 1.3% in January, the largest increase since April. Copper is up a little bit, and in June, palladium was up 1.44%, traded at $15.0670 an ounce, up 1.1%. Very interesting. The prospects of an accommodative Chinese monetary policy have boosted the outlook for Chinese auto catalyst demand, which supports palladium. The Zanar analyst said palladium prices are at historic highs, but this doesn't seem to be shutting off demand. Palladium is an essential part of the automotive pollution control devices. And I think that's going to definitely continue to grow in China. But their economy is kind of slowing down a little bit too. But there's another thing too, the Indian factor. And this article comes to us from Bloomberg, shared with me by Silver Honda. Wedding demand props up Indian gold imports for a second month. Gold imports by India climbed in February for a second straight month as retailers increased buying due to jewelry purchases for weddings in the world's biggest consuming nation after China. And actually, as far as private sales, I think gold by private individuals is higher in India than in China. But before we get too much into that, we'll look back at a Bloomberg article from January. It says how gold imports in India collapsed in 2018. This is the very beginning of the month. Gold imports by India tumbled by a fifth last year as high domestic prices deterred buyers in the second biggest consuming nation, and local stores remained well-stocked, highlighting a headwind to global demand even as bullion and dollar gains on renewed haven buying. Overseas purchases fell to 762 metric tons in 2018, a 20% slump from the previous year, according to a person familiar with the data, who asked not to be identified as the numbers aren't public. That would make it a second smallest amount shipped into the country this decade. In December, imports shrank 23% to about 60 tons from a year earlier, the person said. Imports have moderated after a weak rupee made gold costlier for buyers. And so that is one of the reasons why it's important to kind of pay attention to what's going on in other countries, especially high demand countries like India. And you can see here, look at these imports, really low in 2016, and 2017 it picked up from kind of continued where it was in 2015, but in 2018 it's down. Finance Ministry spokesman D.S. Malik didn't respond to a call. Demand for gold, almost all of which is imported, has been declining in India, as a slump in the rupee made the metal more expensive in the price-sensitive market. A liquidity crunch and government measures to curtail consumption have exacerbated the decline. In dollar terms, bullion has recovered since August as global investors seek protection from equity market volatility, risk of slower growth, and chances of fewer U.S. interest rate hikes. The trend has been weak as far as demand is concerned, said Gnaganesagar. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that correctly. A director in Commandant's Risk Management Services Private Limited, referring to Indian consumption. However, the outlook may change in favor of gold for the first half of 2019, with demand expected to rise up to 20% as purchases for investment may pick up, he said. And we're going to find out if that's true or not in just a second. The article goes on to say that last year, benchmark rupee price gold futures in Mumbai rose nearly 8%, rising for a third year, aided by the weaker local currency, which fell to a record. In the same full-year period, overseas spot gold price in the greenback ended almost 2% lower, pairing its drop in the final 3 months. Moving ahead here, we see overseas purchases. This is the article dated, I think the 6th or 5th, 7th of March here. Overseas purchases advanced of 5.5% to 70.7 tons last month from a year earlier, according to a person familiar with the data who asked not to be named as the figures aren't public. Imports during the April-February period declined 6.4% to 720 tons, the person said. Finance Ministry spokesperson D.S. Malik wasn't immediately available for comment. Buying and wearing of gold during weddings and festivals is seen as auspicious in the majority of Hindu country. Demand is set to recover this year as cash handouts and higher spending in an election year boost disposable incomes, according to World Gold Council. And here we see the wedding demand boost, and his gold imports have risen for a second straight month. Look at that. Wow. There's January, and here's February. Look at that from the previous years here. Rural demand is on the rise thanks to higher crop support prices and more rural-friendly schemes by the government. Ganaskar Chigagan, Commander of Risk Management Services, said by phone from Coimbatore in southern India. Benchmark gold futures in Mumbai have eased 6% in the last 2 weeks after rising to 34,031 rupees or $486 per 10 grams on February the 20th. That's the highest since September 2013 and just below a record of 35,074 rupees touched the same year. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, and as the population in both China and India increase, Uh, Given their economies, could that offset declining economies in both nations and continue to see rising demand for gold in those nations? It's going to be quite fascinating to see how this all plays out. Thanks again to Silver Hunter for sending this information along. Very interesting indeed. Post your thoughts below. Would like to extend a multitude of gratitude, y'all, for watching, and encourage you to please rate, comment, and subscribe.